personal narratives that we've been working on, we talked about a small moment, and a lot of you came up with some really great ideas. Some of you came up with things that were funny, or maybe a little bit scary. Some of you are just, even sad. Today in Writer's Workshop, we are going to talk about how we can make our personal narratives even more interesting to our readers, okay? So our lesson today is that writers often use strong verbs to add interest to their writing. We read Last Stop on Market Street a little while ago. It's by Matt De La Pena, and he did a really great job using strong verbs, and we're going to talk about some of those. So I was going to show you a couple examples from his book that we read. In this story, they were on the bus, and one of the things that he said is that the bus creaked to a stop. It sighed and sagged, and the doors swung open. The bus lurched forward and stopped. He could have just said, the bus went forward, or the bus went down the street. But do you see any examples of really strong verbs or strong words that he used to make his writing more interesting for us as readers? Do you see any words that kind of pop out to you? Sarah, you see one?
Creak.
Creaked? Yeah. What are you thinking in your head when you think of creaked?
I think that the bus stops and it makes like a really scary sound.
Like that really loud creaking sound, which you know if you ride a bus and you're on a bus stop, you know what that sounds like. Or if you've been on a field trip on a bus, you know what that sounds like. Gracie?
Lurched.
Lurched. What are you thinking as you think of the word lurched in your head? Lurches forward. Lurches forward and stop. Maybe going fast or something? Grace Meadows?
Sag.
Sagged? What are you kind of visualizing when they say sagged?
Like sometimes when people are upset, their face sags like that.
I didn't think about it that way, but that's a good idea. I love that. So, why do you think Matt De La Pena, he chose to use words like this? He could have just said, like, the bus went to the next stop. And that would have been true also. But he decided to say, the bus creaked to a stop. It sighed and sagged, and the doors swung open. The bus lurched forward and stopped. Why do you think he chose those strong kind of words rather than some of the other ones that we were saying? Jonathan?
So, like, if this wasn't a book with pictures, they could just picture it.
Right.
Nothing is, like, to tell you that you need to picture this.
Right.
And then you can, like imagine.
Yes, and I love that thinking. Like, if it wasn't a picture book, right? It can help you visualize it in our head, which is great because right now, what we are currently writing, it's not a picture book yet. I mean, you could make it that way in the future if you want, but right now, we're trying to make it interesting for our readers. Amina?
Kind of like Jonathan said, if it just helps all the detailed words, it just helps you memorize it in your head and create a whole entire page of illustrations.
Oh, I love that idea. Reese?
Like, it makes you picture more things in your mind, because if you said the bus opened and it dropped down, like, you can't picture that very much. But when you add words to it, you can add more picture to it and it looks realistic.
Yeah, when you have those descriptions, those really good describing words, you can picture it better in your mind. Knox, what are your thoughts?
I like that I changed words because it's like more action.
It's like more action, and that makes it interesting for us too. And I like how you guys are building on each other, because a lot of what you're saying is connected. That's good. Friend?
He wanted the reader to read the whole book and not just stop.
That's a good way of thinking of it. So we're going to try this. I want you to look at your writing, and I want you to see, is there any spot where you think you could add a stronger word or a stronger verb to what you've written to make it more interesting for our readers? And then we're going to share some of them. So I'm going to give you a moment to go ahead and start writing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what you have chosen maybe to change, or maybe you went back and you found some examples of the strong word choices that you incorporated. Anyone want to give us a little bit of what they wrote? Hayden, them before.
All I wrote was booze.
Say that again?
Can I share my good story?
Not the whole story. Tell me the part that you share. We can have time to share the whole story later.
I wrote boom
You wrote boom?
because that's when all the stuff died.
Oh, nice. Alright. What about you, L-Team?
I wrote so I ran as fast as my little legs could.
You ran as fast as your little legs could. That's awesome. Alright, L-Team, can you say that again for us?
I said I ran as fast as my little legs could.
Nice. And that kind of helps me picture in my mind what you were doing. Alright, Matthew.
I wrote it charged at me foot by foot.
Charged at me foot by foot. The peacock. Alright. What about you, Jocelyn? Bless you.
My friend just stared at me. My friends stared at me with horror faces.
Oh, cool. So you're kind of describing how she was staring at you?
I had like 5 friends that were.
Interesting. Alright. Jonathan?
He looked at me in my brother's room, and it was a tantrum.
Oh, nice. Reese?
I tasted something like a smooth animal back, not like a ring pop.
Like, what did you describe it as?
Smooth animal back.
A smooth animal back. What were you tasting again? A bee. Oh gosh.
Did it
Okay.
sting you?
It was on his, was it on your ring top? Oh my gosh.
It didn't sting you.
Amina?
I ended up having to actually change something.
Okay.
Instead of saying a fly came coming straight to my mouth, I said a fly started coming flying right into my mouth.
Oh, so instead of a fly came into my mouth, a fly started flying straight into my mouth. I like that, so we can kind of visualize that. Elizabeth?
Instead of then my cousin's dog came out, I said then the door creaked, and my cousin's dog came out.
Nice. I love that idea. Sierra?
All I wrote was splat.
You wrote splat. What were you talking about that was splat?
My cake.
An egg?
A cake.
Oh, a cake. Oh yeah, you're right about your cake. I love those sound effects, those onomatopoeia words. They're so fun to read. Onomatopoeia, yep. Reset.
I had to get a needle nail and the doctors were just treating me like babies.
Treating you like babies.
And it was just treating me like babies, but I thought it would be like realistic to change just to literally.
Oh, change it to literally. Do you know what that?
Literally treating me like babies.
Yup. Do you know what that shows me too? That what you're reading in Dork Diaries is like translating into what you're writing, because that's kind of how they write. That's really cool. Jonathan, do you have something else?
Instead of it took me forever,
Yeah.
I said it took me minutes.
It took you a minute. Oh, those are two really different thoughts too. Because if you say forever, I'm thinking a super long time. But if you say minutes, that makes me think not as long.
It took me like 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Well, those are two really different things, huh? Nice job.